I will install Debian on my computer without using a USB drive or DVD, and then setting it up in a dual boot configuration alongside Windows. So I'm going to download Debian, going to debian.org, and then going to Other Downloads. And I won't be installing the small installation image or the complete installation image. I'll be downloading the Debian Live image. So there are different desktop environments available. And you got GNOME, which is user-friendly with a modern look. XFCE, which is lightweight, simple, and great for lower-end machines. And you got KDE, which is great for power users who want more control. And there's other desktop environments available. But for this video, I'm going to do the live KDE. So I'm going to download this. And once done downloading, go to your downloads folder, click on your image, hit enter or right click and mount, and this will mount it to a virtual drive. Open. And next, open up disk management in Windows. And so I have my drive here, 476 gigabytes. Here's my C drive. And here's the Debian Live image that I just mounted. And I'm going to be shrinking my C drive here to make space for the Debian Live installation media, and also as well as for Debian itself. And the Debian installation media, it's about 3.27 gigabytes. And now I'm going to have about 40 gigabytes for Debian itself. So in total, about 44 gigabytes. Right click, shrink volume. And so the amount will shrink by 45,000 megabytes. Shrink. All right, it's completed. Now I'm going to create a new partition, a new simple volume. Next. And this will be for the Debian installation media itself. So I'll do 4,000 megabytes. Next. Next. I'll call it Debian ISO. File system FAT32. Next. Finish. Now I'm going to go into my H drive, open, copy everything, and then go to my new D drive, the new partition I just created, and paste. All right, it's completed. Close. And back in disk management, we see here my D drive. It's a basic data partition. And so when you reboot, it should be able to boot from it. But if it's not able to, it could be because it's not seen as an EFI system partition. So we can change that. Open up command prompt as administrator. Go into disk part. List my disk. And then select disk 0. List my partitions. And in the D drive, it's going to be partition number 4, the 4,000 megabyte partition. Select partition 4. Type in help set ID. And scroll up. I'm going to look for the EFI system partition in hex, copy it, and then type in set ID equals, and then paste, enter. All right, and we can see in disk management that it has been changed to an EFI system partition, so that is good. And now I'm going to reboot my computer and go into the BIOS. In your BIOS, confirm that secure boot is disabled. And in the boot options, I have Windows Boot Manager first, and then UEFI OS is second. And the UEFI OS is the Debian installation partition, and you can confirm that by going back into Windows. Open up a command prompt as administrator. Type in bcdedit space /enum space firmware. And then we can see here partition D, and then here's the path for the EFI boot file, and then it's labeled as UEFI OS. So I have to change it so the UEFI OS is first. And then save changes and exit. All right, it's booted into the installation media partition, and we got live system, and there's also start installer. Ensure you select live system, and then install Debian. Installer starts up, select your language, next. Location, next. Keyboard, select your keyboard, next. Partitions, I'm going to be doing manual partitioning, next. And so here's my remaining free space, the 40 gigabytes. And I'm going to be creating new partitions. Create. And this first partition is going to be for /boot. It's going to be 1 gigabyte. It's going to be ext4 mount point /boot. Okay. Go back to the free space, create. And then this next partition will be for /boot/EFI. It's going to be 512 megabytes. It's going to be FAT32 mount point /boot/EFI. And then the boot flag, sure it's checked off. Okay. Go back to the free space, create. And going to the mount point, there's /home/op/serve, etc. But for this, I'm going to keep it simple and use the rest of this free space for / and hit OK. Now there's no swap partition seen here, but I can always create a swap file afterwards, so that's fine. And so going back, we have the 3 new partitions that are going to be created. Hit next. And then fill out your name, username, computer name, and password. Next. And in this window, it's going to summarize everything it's going to do. And then when ready, hit install. And it's going to install and will take a little bit of time to complete. And you can click on toggle log to see the logs. And you can click it again to go back. If you had stepped away from your computer during the install and now see the login screen due to inactivity, you can just get back in, and the username is user and the password is live, L-I-V-E. And we see here that the install has completed. And now I'm going to restart and go back into the BIOS. In my boot options, I have the Windows Boot Manager as first, the UEFI OS, the Debian installation partition, and Debian itself here. So I have to change it, so Debian is first. And then save changes and exit. All right, so Grub comes up and there's Debian, and it's automatically found Windows, the Windows Boot Manager, so that's good. And I'm going to go into Debian. Going to log in. All right, so Debian works as expected. And now I'm going to reboot my computer to confirm I can get back into Windows. Go into Windows. Going to log in. All right, I'm able to get back into Windows. And one final note, going back to disk management. And the Debian installation partition here, you can just keep this here. If you delete it, you'll likely run into a partition ordering issue, which can be fixed, but to keep it simple, just keep this here. And also, if you ever need a live environment, you can just boot from it. So that's it. That's how you can dual boot Debian on your computer without using a USB drive or DVD. I hope this video was useful, and I thank you for watching. Bye now.